a super sensitive skin where your skin flares up at the slightest exertion or perhaps the slightest contact with certain products. So your skin flares up, it gets itching, burning, stinging. Do you have that type of skin? Hi, my name is Jana. I'm skincare educator and trainer, and I run a blog called thebeautybusiness.com.au. You're welcome to visit and have a read of some of my articles. And today I'm going to address a question that was sent to me during the week by one of my fans. And my fan asked me about her skin. She's experienced super sensitive skin, and she's explained that in the past she's applied something to her skin that caused that sensitivity to now flare up. No, not many people are actually born with sensitive skin. The skin tends to become sensitized over time when it is exposed to certain environmental factors, certain chemicals, products, harsh treatments. So when people come and see us and they tell us that they have a sensitive skin, we have to delve a little bit deeper into the history to find out when the sensitivity began and what may have been the triggering factors that cause that sensitive skin. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that today. So if you do have sensitive skin, or you know somebody who has a sensitive skin, you may find some answers today on how to best manage your skin and hopefully bring it back to balance. So eventually you'll be able to enjoy normal skincare products that everybody else is using, but your skin is just not able to handle at the moment. Even makeup, skincare, facial treatments. There are some people who just absolutely cannot tolerate it until the skin is brought back to balance. So let's talk about some of the things that can actually cause skin sensitivity. Harsh treatments is perhaps one of the things that triggers sensitivities people the most. So harsh treatments such as really strong scrubs, alcohol toners that are really strong in the alcohol content. I have seen toners on the market where you look on the back of the label, the first ingredient is water and the second ingredient is alcohol denat, which is pure alcohol basically. If that's in the top 5 or even top 10 ingredients, it's a very high percentage of alcohol in that product, and that can dry the skin out and sensitize it. So alcohol comes in different forms in skincare. Not all alcohols are bad. What you're looking for is perhaps alcohol denat is probably the one that dries the skin out. But there are other types of alcohols that are actually used in skincare that are waxes, the moisturizing and skin conditioning. So just because it says alcohol in it doesn't mean it's bad, okay? So it's best to research the particular ingredient to find out. So alcohol toners, they're pretty harsh. Really strong scrubs can upset the skin as well. Long-term of hydroxy acids such as glycolic acid can also sensitize some skin. So it has to be all used with respect. So if you do enjoy using AHAs, and I do too, it has to be done with balance in mind. So I will talk a little bit about it as well. So what happens when you use a harsh ingredient or a chemical on your skin? Even for some ingredients is short term, for some ingredients is long term. The first thing that these ingredients can do is upset the pH balance, the acid mantle of the skin. Our skin has a surface pH that it likes to maintain on an even balance. If it becomes unbalanced, the skin becomes unbalanced. And the pH of the skin is around 5. 5.5 is good. And that is slightly acidic, which means that the skin can fight off bacteria as well. Bacteria doesn't like acidic environment. So by having a slightly acidic surface, the skin is protecting itself. It's the first line of defense for the skin. If we use soaps on the skin, and soaps are extremely alkaline, they're right on the other side of the pH scale, they can strip the skin and also totally unbalance the pH. When the pH is unbalanced, the skin flares up. The skin goes into repair mode because it recognizes the pH is not the right one and it'll try to correct it. So it triggers off inflammation. Inflammation is that redness, the swelling, the stinging, the burning and itching that you experience in your skin when your skin becomes sensitized. So long-term use of soap on your skin can also cause skin sensitivities down the track. You might be fine in your early years and it'll come back to catch up with you later in your later years when your skin has to work a little bit harder to repair itself because it's been exposed to the environment for so much longer and it's aging as well. So it's got other things that it has to repair. So pH is the first thing that we look at, correcting the pH in a skin that's become sensitized and unbalanced. So using correct cleansers and using vitamin C in skincare. Ascorbic acid helps to bring the skin back to balance. Any acidic botanicals such as tomatoes, for example, would be able to bring the skin back to balance as well. I'm talking about tomato extract in skincare. I've worked with a cream like that in the past. So we would be looking for more acidic products to bring that acid back to balance, such as ascorbic acid to pH balance that skin. And of course, a good cleansing routine will have to be established and moisture protecting routine. So protecting the skin from the environment and then give it a chance to repair itself underneath. So that's really important. So that's how people can sensitize the skin if they're using soap, gel cleansers that are very high in pH, so they are quite alkaline, can upset it. Any detergents in skincare can upset the pH balance and strip the skin. So anything that foams and bubbles on your skin, I know it feels really good, but it's not good for your skin long term. So you have to be very discerning and careful when you select a product that has a foaming base to it, especially if your skin is dry or sensitized or even dehydrated, because that'll just make this dehydration worse. And over time, the skin is dehydrated, it'll just flare up. So cleansing routine is very important. Using toners that are more botanical based, so they're like skin tonics rather than harsh stripping alcohol toners. So stay away from those. They do still exist, and you particularly find them in the cheaper drugstores and supermarkets and pharmacies. They can be quite strong, so be careful with those. And then, of course, moisture protecting the skin. Scrubs, really harsh scrubs. Years ago, when I was a teenager and I first was exploring skincare, I remember my first scrub I purchased because I had a very oily skin with lots of blackheads and clogging and pimples, and I saw the ad on TV and they said, use this scrub and it'll clear your skin. So off I went and I bought the scrub, and it was made with crushed apricot, the seeds, and it was really scratchy on the skin. But it felt satisfying. It was almost like rubbing sand into my skin, and it felt good, like, oh, I'm going to rub all that acne and blackheads off. The problem with that was my skin was left red and irritated and dried out, and as a result the skin started pumping more oil, trying to protect itself and trying to rebalance the acid mantle. Excuse me, it's my dogs barking there, trying to protect me. So Yeah, so the apricot scrub, and it was really harsh, and it left me with some capillary damage in the skin. At that time, it stimulated too much oil in my skin, so I ended up with more breakouts and more blackheads. So it just wasn't the right thing for my skin, but I didn't know any better. I was a teenager and I was just doing that. Luckily, I realized that that didn't feel right, they didn't look right, they didn't, I got more oily and I break out. So I stopped using it, and that was lucky I did, but some people don't do that and keep on using the product in the hope that it'll clear up their skin, and they end up with a sensitized skin. So stay away from anything that's really, really harsh as an exfoliant. There are exfoliants that work at a deeper level and provide better exfoliation without too much trauma to the skin. So talk to your professional esthetician. Yeah, they will choose, if you prefer something simple and quick and easy in the shower, something that has very fine powder that will exfoliate the skin, or you could use a serum or treatment cream with a glycolic or lactic acid in it that gently lifts off the dead cells. And it'll be in a lower percentage, so you could use it potentially long term without causing too much trauma and damage to your skin. So just because something's got higher percentage doesn't mean it's better. If something has a higher percentage, it has to be managed more. So you have to be very careful how long you use it, how often you use it, how you use it on your skin, depending on your skin type. Everybody's different. So if you're using anything with AHAs, like glycolic or lactic or BHA salicylic, it has to be managed well by your beauty therapist so that they can monitor your skin, making sure that it doesn't go out of balance. So that's really important. Chemicals can damage the skin. Years ago, I looked after a client. I visited a town, and it was a town where they had a chemical processing plant, and they were making glue. I believe it was a glue processing plant. And the clients that I was seeing, these people who worked in the processing plant were seeing me, they all had sensitive skin. They all had skin that was affected by the fumes of the processing plant, causing skin sensitivity. So your skin can be affected by chemicals as well, especially if you're exposed to it in high doses or over a very long period of time. So in that case, a program to desensitize the skin and to protect the skin from the environment was essential. So a good moisturizer that will help to neutralize free radical damage, anti-inflammatory ingredients to keep the inflammation down in the skin was essential for that client. But unfortunately, because this client was exposed to this chemical damage for so long, she would have to take quite a long time to re-educate that skin and desensitize it. So over time, bring it back to balance. It is doable. It is possible. In fact, I did a treatment on her, just one treatment, and the skin calmed right down. She ended up buying everything I recommended for her because she got, my skin hasn't felt this good in years. So it is absolutely possible if you're using the right products and you know what you're doing. So harsh cleansing, excessive exfoliation, chemical exposure can cause sensitivities to the skin. Internal medication can also cause sensitivity to the skin. So for example, there are people that take medications for certain problems, and some medications can cause the skin to become more sensitive to UV light, or some medications can dry the skin out. I know people with certain medications they take for asthma can dehydrate and dry the skin, and they become a little bit more sensitized and a little bit more aggravated if exposed to certain chemicals. Roaccutane is a vitamin A medication that is prescribed by the doctor for people who suffer with severe acne. That has a powerful sensitizing effect on the skin. It thins the skin down, dries it up, the skin becomes porous, and it just flares up all the time. It's peeling, it's flaking, it's red. Some people react quite strongly to that. The acne may clear in some people. It doesn't always work, not 100%. However, they do end up with very sensitive skin. And we as beauty therapists, when we do any treatments, we always check whether the client is using any medications. And you, as a client, always tell your beauty therapist if you're using any medication, because it can affect the treatment, even something as simple as waxing or tinting. If you're using Roaccutane, and you have a strip wax done on your eyebrows where the skin is so delicate, it can potentially rip the skin off. The skin's become so paper thin and so fragile, it'll lift the skin off. If you're having an eyelash tint, the peroxide they're using to activate the color to tint your lashes could potentially irritate the skin around the eyes too. So always tell your beauty therapist if you're using or taking any medication, prescribed medication, so they know in case they have to take any precautions with the treatments that they do. So internal medications can imbalance it as well. So let's talk about what's happening in the skin. I talked about the acid mantle, the pH can be unbalanced. And that's the first stage of skin sensitivity. If the skin has been exposed to an aggressive treatment, products or chemicals, then over time the barrier can also break down. So let me explain to you what actually happens to the skin when the skin flares up. In your epidermis, you have a barrier. The skin cells form a barrier. It's almost like a raincoat that it covers your whole body. And this raincoat barrier is very important to keep substances out, keep bacteria out, keep water out as well. It's an efficient barrier to prevent water from getting in. Why? Because water carries bacteria and other chemicals into the skin. It's a very effective vehicle. So the body tries to protect itself. If you didn't have that barrier, you've probably heard this before. If you go swimming and soak in a bath, you'll just blow up because you absorb all with water. So we know that the skin has a very good efficient barrier because the skin only on the surface will absorb the water. That's when you get those really funny fingers and toes, all bloated up when you've been in water. But after a time, that water evaporates and then you go back to normal. But it doesn't go any further than that. So it's only just that very surface area of your skin becomes saturated with water. So that barrier, keeping that barrier intact is incredibly important, because the minute that barrier becomes compromised, so imagine that raincoat has dissolved in areas. You've got tiny little cracks in it or tiny little holes, and things are getting in that are not supposed to get in. So what happens then? Then you've got these specialized cells in your skin. They act like your guard dogs. They're called Langerhans cells, and basically they'll start barking. So as soon as they see something coming in the skin that it's not supposed to, they trigger off the alarm. And so imagine a guard dog barking. What they do, they send off signals to other immune cells in the body, in the skin, to come to the rescue, to come and fight that invading bacteria or chemical substance that's coming in the skin, to come in and fight it off, neutralize it, destroy it, etc. So the Langerhans cells, these barking dogs, they trigger off the alarm. That alarm, imagine you hit the button and you've got the red light going, right? And you've got the siren going. So that red light, that's the inflammation in the skin. So essentially when they trigger off the alarm, the blood capillaries dilate, allowing more blood to come to that area. The lymphatic system rushes more water to the area, and that's why your skin looks red and it becomes swollen. The pain receptors in the skin become triggered as well. That's why you perceive that pain, the itching, the stinging, the burning. And it's all part of that inflammation process, all part of that second line of defense where the skin's trying to protect itself. So when that happens, then you have other immune cells rush to the area, phagocytes, etc. They're specialized cells that either engulf, destroy the invading particle or bacteria, or they catch it and then take it down to the lymphatic nodes where it can be processed. So they literally grab onto it and carry it down to the lymphatic nodes. It's a fascinating thing to watch. And to know about it. I absolutely love how the skin works. And so you've got the Langerhans cells sending off the alarm, which brings, all the immune systems, immune cells to the area to try and neutralize the thing that's causing a problem in the skin. And then after all that has been neutralized, then the alarm goes off and everything goes back to normal. So the blood capillaries reduced in size, so you don't have that redness in the skin. The water is then dispersed back to the lymphatic system, so you don't have the swelling. The swelling comes down, and the pain receptors settle down, so you're not feeling that itching, burning, stinging. So that's what happens in your skin when your skin goes into that flare up. So you can have a redness, itching, burning, stinging. You can have rashes. You can develop hives. There's even blisters. So sometimes you can form tiny little blisters. That's your lymphatic system. It's decided, okay, I can't deal with this. I can't take it back to the lymph nodes. Let's try and push it out of the skin. So it literally, all that water comes in, lymphatics, they try and catch that invading chemical or bacteria and literally try and put it up through the skin by forming that blister, which will eventually dry up and pop and dry up and so on. So it's absolutely fascinating how the skin can protect itself and everything that it does to protect itself. So when we're treating our sensitized skin and our skin that has become sensitized, what happens is that barking dog, the Langerhans cells, over time, if that skin has been exposed to the trigger, so either harsh scrub, harsh cleansing, or chemicals, that dog keeps barking. Your neighbor's dog who just won't stop barking, that dog keeps barking. So that Langerhans cell is constantly triggering inflammation. And in people with long-term exposure to harsh chemicals or scrubs or cleansing, their skin over time becomes permanently sensitized. So they're permanently red, or even just the slightest thing will set them off. That's because these barking dogs become super sensitized, and at the slightest whiff of a problem, it'll start barking. So I hope that makes sense. So the Langerhans cells become overexcited and oversensitized, and it'll trigger inflammation at the slightest thing. So what we have to do is calm down that Langerhans cell. We have to teach the dog to stop barking. And how we do that? Long-term management and care of the skin with anti-inflammatory, calming and soothing products, skin repairing ingredients. So what we can do is repair the damage or protect the skin so that it can go into repair mode and heal itself. So we assist it, we heal it, we help it along. Now, how can you do that? So first thing we need to do is repair that barrier to prevent things getting in that are causing the problem. So your barrier is made up of essential fatty acids, cholesterol, ceramides. They're the three key actives that pretty much equally found in your barrier of the skin. What normally makes this barrier is your own skin cells. They secrete this substance into the tissue around them that surrounds and coats them and creates that barrier. So if you've stripped your skin, you've taken off those ceramides, essential fatty acids, and allowed things to get in, you need to replace that. So how do you do that? In skincare, we use products with ceramides, cholesterol, essential fatty acids, which is your omegas, 3, 6, and 9. You particularly are looking for omega-3 and omega-7 are very good at repairing damaged cells and damaged barrier. So that's how you repair your barrier. So you've got to repair your barrier first, moisturize the skin because the skin is so much more settled when it's hydrated, such as with hyaluronic acid. It's now hyaluronic acid is not an acid. It's somehow it's been misnamed or misinterpreted. It's not an acid, but it is a substance that holds a lot of water in the skin to keep it nice and hydrated and relaxed. So you repair the barrier, keep it hydrated. You can use herbal and botanical extracts in skincare that are wonderful at reducing inflammation, calming down the cells, reducing the capillaries so you don't have that redness in the skin. Repairing oils have come in very handy in this instance. Sea buckthorn oil is one that I found fantastic on traumatized, damaged skin. Sea buckthorn has very high levels of omega-7, and it has powerful anti-inflammatory, healing and repairing actives for the skin. So look for ingredients that contain sea buckthorn oil. It is fabulous for repairing damaged skin. Even skins that suffer from eczema, psoriasis, dermatitis, I've seen nearly overnight transformation in the skin that suffer with these kind of problems. So sea buckthorn oil. If the skin's been damaged and it's going through repair mode, epidermal growth factors are really good at repairing damaged tissue. So epidermal growth factors is a type of ingredient that communicates with your repairing cells in the skin to trigger healing and repair process, so to repair the barrier, repair damaged cells, repair damaged tissues. So epidermal growth factors are fantastic. Jojoba oil, another wonderful ingredient. Jojoba, it's spelled Jojoba. It's pronounced jojoba, known sometimes as liquid gold. It is one of the probably most powerful repairing oils for your skin, and the beauty of it is jojoba oil is very closely molecularly similar to our own natural sebum, natural oils we produce. So the skin kind of recognizes it as the same. It doesn't reject it. It absorbs it nicely. So it absolutely loves jojoba oil. Luke, come down, please. Good boy. My dog's climbing onto our lamp. My dog, not my boy, my dog climbing on a lamp. Not a good thing. So jojoba oil is fabulous. Look for ingredients that have jojoba oil as a base as well. Now, ascorbic acid a little bit later, because it is an acid, it might be too strong to use initially on a super sensitized and porous skin. So we would probably bring it a little bit later in. And what else can I think of? So look, plant oils, essential fatty acids that have ceramides and cholesterol in it, such as the jojoba, sea buckthorn oil talked about, hyaluronic acid. Now, even on our super sensitized skin, if you just have a pure hyaluronic acid gel, it can really help that skin. So we actually use hyaluronic acid immediately after certain procedures, such as microneedling, to calm that skin, to reduce that inflammation and that dryness that it can experience afterwards. So hyaluronic acid is a good bet as well. So look for cleansers and lotions that particularly care for sensitized damaged skin. So they'll have essential fatty acids in it. They'll have botanicals such as arnica to calm that skin down. B5 is also really good. It's a water-soluble vitamin, so it penetrates nice and quickly into the skin with the water, and it calms down inflammation and helps to repair damaged cells. So arnica, B5 are good things to look for as well. And then use serums, creams to manage your skin and look after it for more long term, to bring it back to balance and to allow it to heal itself. Serums I would be looking for, and creams with those plant oils that we talked about. Masks for super sensitive skin exists, and they provide us a tool that gives immediate relief from itching, burning, stinging, redness, calms it down. So masks are brilliant because they work very fast at calming down that skin. And some of the masks are professional only, and some of them are also available for you to use at home whenever you have a flare-up. So ask your beauty therapist if they have a specialized mask that's especially good for flare-ups, where you get lots of inflammation and itching and burning and stinging, to calm that skin down. So I hope you enjoyed that today. I hope that I really enjoyed it, actually. I love talking about the skin and how it works, and I try to explain it in terms that you can understand if you haven't had that scientific background. Because once we understand something, then it makes sense on how we look after a skin. So that's my passion, to teach people on, you know, the actual facts, how skin really does work and how they can manage and care for their skin. So I hope it helps. If you have any questions, please pop them in the comments below. You can always also join me on my group, the beauty business students, where you can talk to me directly, contact me directly if you have any specific questions you'd like me to talk about, or particularly about your skin, or if you need any personal recommendations, I can help you out. I'll pop the link to the beauty business group in the comments below. And what I do with these videos, once they go live, I also do put them on a different channel where you can go back and watch them anytime. So in the beauty business group, I'll link to that channel there. Have a fabulous weekend, have a fabulous week, and I shall see you for more tips next Saturday at 8 a.m. Thank you, and bye for now.